Yeah, we've been through it before. I tell you what, I I haven't been always the one that could afford every single coin I could find, and sometimes this hobby of coin collecting can be geez, it's so intimidating. Where do you start? I'm only dealing with this much amount of money, but I want it all. That was the mindset when I first got into, well, I've been coin collecting since the 90s. Okay. And then it was a very honest, kind of like simple type of hobby where you don't necessarily have to dump $2,000 into one coin. But at the same time, there wasn't the internet to help drive kind of like the visual awareness of some of the high profile coins that a lot of people love. In a way, the YouTubers, the social media kind of guess gurus and mentors have thrown out many great kind of like ideas of how to find this coin and make money off of it, or perhaps where to find this particular variety and really boost up your collection. But in the grand scheme of things, there's not a lot of talk about what the most, I guess, affordable kind of like avenue to approach the hobby. Okay, one of the things I get a lot of people asking me about is, man, dude, Blue Ridge, I'm so broke. I want to get into coin collecting, but does it cost anything? Do I have to put a lot of money into it to get what I want out of it? Now, there's two different kind of ways of thinking. All right, there's a person that genuinely wants to be into coin collecting. However, there's the other person that wants to find the coins that a lot of YouTubers have discussed and talked about. This high grade mint state 68 1960 Lincoln penny, that you can sell for $10,000. We've heard it all the time. Okay, I've talked about it. I'm kind of like a creature of my own habit because I talk about it in like the Monday market reports. It used to be that I would talk about all the time on my YouTube channel. You guys have seen it, as recently as probably a year or two ago, where I talk about one specific coin that sold for $6,000. And, that's kind of like the wrong message that we want to, send out there to a lot of the newer collectors. Is it's just not that easy. Okay, I guess in a way you look at it as like starting your own business. Okay, whatever you put into it, you'll get back. Okay, and I guess the best example I could give is coin roll hunting. All right, everybody wants the coin roll hunt. Everybody wants the coin roll hunt half dollars, quarters, the big denominations, and people don't realize that you have to spend $500 or $1,000 or however much the full box is at the bank, and people get discouraged. They get discouraged because I'll go through one box and I'm bound to find 10 silver half dollars. It's great to set achievements up high, but keeping in the realistic kind of portion of what it takes, to be successful in coin roll hunting, let alone just the general subject of coin collecting, can be a little bit daunting. All right, especially when it's your first go around. So, one of my patrons, I did the previous video about the three kind of like master best practices that it takes to become successful in this hobby, whether you're a collector or a dealer or you want to become a dealer. Okay, that spawned a whole bunch of different kind of like subtopics. Okay, the one big one in which I had already a half a dozen responses on is, man, I'm broke. I don't have any money to go coin roll hunting or to buy coins, and I want to own a 1916D Mercury dime, but I don't have the money for it. How do I get started? First of all, okay, if you don't have money, okay, maybe you shouldn't be going into coin collecting. Coin collecting is a hobby, okay? It's kind of like the rich man's kind of like little side hustle, kind of like side gig, if that makes any sense. All right, to get into it indicates that you have some sort of extra income. All right, the number one thing is you got to have a job. All right, now this doesn't exactly apply to the younger audiences because I have a lot of like kids that are, between like 8 years old all the way up into their teenage years, chiming in. I'm like, ooh, that's cool. Can I have that? I want to get into this. I want to collect that, collect this. And, God bless them, because they're the future of coin collecting. Long after Blue Ridge Silverhound has gone to Valhalla, okay, these next generation, 2 generations up, somehow, some way, we're passing the torch onto these young fellas. And then, they're going to, do whatever it takes. Okay. If coins are still around, and the US is still circulating a penny, there is bound to be coin collecting. All right. But through it all, okay, kind of like the foundation of where everything sits is, okay, you got to have some sort of money to get started. Okay. You could get started in these as easily as, 2 gallons of gas in the car and 50 cents. Okay, and this right here, ladies and gentlemen, is the typical gateway drug to coin collecting. A lot of people that get into coins will start out coin roll hunting by getting bank wrapped rolls, much like you see here, directly from the bank. Okay, you're playing with house money. All right, so you're just going there, you're handing 2 quarters over, you're getting back a roll of pennies. Hopefully, it's like a roll of wheat cents, or perhaps, like some key dates in there. But again, realistically, it doesn't happen too often. So, the overall kind of like foot in the door to coin collecting, that can be inexpensive. All right. But, you have to know what kind of limitations you're sitting in. Are you, what's a good example? Are you, beer budget right here, or are you trying to do champagne tastes? I have a full roll of Morgan dollars sitting right here that on its own, let's say, okay, there's 20 of them. All right, the average price for each, let's say a junk silver Morgan dollar, $20 as an average. It's a little bit less, a little bit more, whatever, depending on who's selling them. That's $400 sitting in this tube right here that otherwise, can appear to be way too much money based off of, your buying habits. Okay, the first thing that I like to tell everyone is, set a budget. Okay, how much do you want to put into it? And, keep it boxed in with that dollar amount. Okay, a good round wholesome number for a lot of new collectors is $50 a month. Okay, so we think about, okay, what can $50 get us in the grand scheme of things? Well, it could get you 1 brilliant uncirculated raw Morgan dollar. Okay, that's not bad. Get one of those per month, that you'll end up with 12 in a calendar year's time. You could get 2 boxes of Lincoln pennies. If you do that per month, and you really hone in on doing the research as far as what you could find in these penny boxes, that might actually pay better dividends than getting 1 coin and hoping that, it's either going to make your collection look good, or you're hoping that this thing's going to gain in value and appreciate over time. The methodology to a coin collector is all different across the board. There are people that like to do what they call the kind of like, playing with house money, the low-hanging fruit types. And that's simply getting the rolls and going through it with a fine-tooth comb, pulling out all the errors, all the varieties. Some people like to kind of separate 2 piles. One, the pre-1983 copper coins, they just like to hoard copper. And then you have the other folks that, like to look for key dates and, things like that. Key dates are few and far between in Lincoln cents, but people like to, the thrill of the hunt of finding wheat cents. Okay, it's like, well, I come across those every day. I got bags of them under a desk here. But setting a firm budget on how much you want to spend as a beginning coin collector is one such thing. The number 2 thing is kind of like setting a standard. Okay, if we're trying to go after champagne budget after champagne budget after champagne budget, you're going to end up with a lot of subpar quality coins. All right, when in the grand scheme of things, okay, there's a couple, I guess, phrases that apply in this hobby. Okay, you buy the coin, not the slab. Some people have heard otherwise. But if you're too focused on buying a graded coin and you don't know too much about it, it just looks pretty, okay, you might get stung. All right, the worst thing that could happen is overpaying for a coin that is commonplace in the market. All right, A 1938D, brilliant, uncirculated Buffalo nickel is one great example of, a coin that a lot of people overpay for, in Mint State 65, when the coin is worth about $25 in that grade. So, determining how much you want to, kind of set for it, or are you buy the maximum amount of coin, utilize all $50 of your budget every month to buy the coin, or do you want to save up, for 6 months? Okay, in 6 months, you'll have $300. $300 can buy you, a world of different things. So, just off the top of my head, you could buy a bag of wheat cents to go through. Okay, that's generally between like $150 to $250, depending on the quality of the mix. Okay, you could get a really nice Carson City, still in the GSA slab coin for under $300 and have more left over to buy maybe a couple more brilliant uncirculated Morgans. With $300, you could get a really nice capped bus $50. With $300, if you're a currency guy, you could get a really nice error note, okay? One that probably has mismatched serial numbers, or perhaps, you have inking that's on the back of the serial numbers, or over-inking, ink smears, cutting errors, folding errors, you name it. So at $300, you have more of the, more satisfactory, kind of like self-absorbing type of possibilities to go through, rather than if you just have the $50, you're going to have a heck of a time finding anything that perceives quality. But at the beginning, you got to have some sort of source of income coming in. Okay, if you guys are younger than 16 that don't have jobs, my recommendation is to start out coin roll hunting and learning the hobby. Okay, learning the hobby, hopping online, reading books, get a general idea of what you can find. Okay, a lot of forum sites like Coin Talk and Coin Community have actual threads, actual forums, where it's all dedicated to coin roll hunting. Okay, you would be surprised the stuff that people find out of these. But I want to talk about it. Yeah, if you're broke, okay, you gotta have income coming in. Okay, but before you even go here, number two, you have to be able to pay the bills first before you go and spend money that's not exactly set up for extras. Okay, you can't go to the bar with your last $20 in your pocket if you get paid 2 weeks later. I mean, come on, you gotta feed yourself. All right, bottom ramen it is. Believe me, it used to be that way after college, during college. I was not into coin collecting then. I got out of it, right after high school. I took some time off, went to college. I was dead broke. But there was a lot of other things I wanted to do, and it was tough to do it when you don't have income coming in. All said and done, I ended up with 2 jobs, and I was going to college full time, and then I was able to kind of jump into some extracurricular stuff. But for those of you that are in this pickle, this predicament about, oh man, I'm broke, I don't know how to approach it. Okay, you got to keep in mind, all right, what are a lot of people doing? All right, to kind of put themselves into coin collecting. Okay, they're buying bankrolls, ladies and gentlemen. They're not exactly going out buying silver and hedging inflations and all this great stuff. On face value, on paper, it sounds good, but if you don't have any money to put into it, you're not going to make that kind of impact you need from an investment standpoint. All right. So anyways, it was a pleasure seeing you guys, talking with you again. And, as always, feel free to share and subscribe, and I have the giveaways going on all summer. They're going to be starting in force here pretty soon. So make sure you subscribe and make sure you hit the bell. Ding! Hit the bell for instant notification. And then, you know what? Your bell will get rung, and then you might snag a really cool freebie, whether it's a gift card, silver, coins, you name it. It's all going to be out there for you for the taking. You better take advantage of it. So I want to thank everyone for joining in. As always, I'm your host. Thank you. Love you guys. Thank you for all the views and support. Peace. All right.